My amplified unit. Salud. And new MJF conquers the mission at hand at Full Gear 2022. And while BC has some time here in the office studio, I got a good 40 minutes at least. That's enough time to talk about the bulk of this card. I'll try to go over every match and just give you my thoughts. A couple of matches I have to spend a little bit more time on because it means so much coming out of Full Gear for these individuals and for AEW as a whole. So it means so much for the future in that company and these individuals. So I do have to spend a little bit more time. But as a whole, I don't have that much time in studio today. I do have to do some traveling. That'll take me right through Monday afternoon. So let's get right into it, man. Before I go over the rest of the card, the undercard, this main event. And before I get to... No. Let's start there, man, because I want to make sure I have enough time to go over this subject. And if I don't get to any other match in great length or some other matches, then so be it. MJF Mox. The story kind of wrote itself, right? From CM Punk and all of this turmoil, because that's the best word you can use. It's been turmoil. The AEW Championship has taken a drastic turn from being prestigious to being laughed at. People not even taking that title seriously. And that sucks because if you look at the first several reigns for the AEW World Championship, that title was becoming prestigious. Every title holder was holding it for several months, right? I believe there's been 6 different champions, 9 title reigns, I believe MJF was number 9 last night and the 6th person to hold the title. And that's going to bug me if I'm wrong, so let's go over it. I think CM Punk held the championship. Hangman Page, Kenny Omega. Punk, Hangman, Omega. Mox, MJF now. I'm missing one, man. Mox, CM Punk, Hangman Page, Omega, MJF, Chris Jericho. He was the inaugural. There you go. That was going to bug me, man. Chris Jericho was the inaugural champ. And Chris Jericho held that championship for many, many months, right? And Omega held it for many, many months. Omega, I believe, has the longest reign, doesn't he? 3-something. He's up there with Jericho. I know that. And then Hangman Page held it for many, many months. I mean, if you look at the gaps, many months went by. It wasn't just a hot potato from one pay-per-view to another pay-per-view like we see all the time in pro wrestling today. No, these were actual, lengthy, meaningful, prestigious title reigns. Whether the reigns were epic or not, or could have been better, that's in the eye of the beholder. Totally understandable. But they were prestigious title reigns. And you look at the last 5 reigns, guys. 4 to 5 reigns. Ever since CM Punk first won the championship, injured, interim, Mox has to come in, Punk gets it back, Punk holds it for only 3 days, he's gone, Mox gets it back, MJF has to get it from him, and all of this was just in the past few months. 5 different fucking swaps of the title. They needed a moment last night like we got. They needed that moment more than any. That company, that title needed that moment because what happens from here on out, MJF has to hold that championship for a lengthy amount of motherfucking time. Even if you don't like MJF, if you're an AEW fan, if you just know what's right from wrong, you know that title has to now be implemented on MJF like fucking, like it's glued to that son of a bitch's ass. That title cannot come off of him. And I don't want to hear, it's got to be like the Roman Reigns of AEW. His reign. No, he's got to be the first MJF of AEW, just like he has been. Don't change a damn thing. Now you just have the championship. That title doesn't make the man. The man makes the title. That title could actually become even more prestigious under the guidance, the tutelage, the leadership of MJF. What happened last night, and this is no secret, man, and I don't hide the fact that I am a huge MJF fan, if you will. You guys know that. My tried and trues know I put MJF as one of my pinnacles of professional wrestling. MJF is what I call the actual elite of pro wrestling. There's only 3 individuals, for the men anyway, and that's Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, MJF. Those are the 3 guys. Whether you like them or not, again, I understand, eye of the beholder. Everybody will tell you they either like them or they don't. Or I like 2 out of those 3, basically. But the fact is, Roman, Bray, and MJF are captivating the wrestling world at a time where nobody else seems to be captivating the wrestling world. Many individuals, we give a good pop when they come through the curtain, right? A good pop. We give them a good clap. We do a bunch of "this is awesome" chants. Fight forever chants, maybe. Holy shit. But there's no real connection. The match is done. You're on social. You say, "What a banger." And then you move on. You forget about it the next day. There's no connection. There's no captivation. 3 individuals right now, and they've been doing this. Lately, it's just on another level. Roman, Bray, MJF. What happened last night was a marquee signature moment, not just for MJF, but for AEW. And if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about it. Start from the jump in this match. And if you enjoyed the match or not, again, that's going to be in the eye of the beholder if you like these individuals or not. The match absolutely played, as it got to its conclusion, it played its placement at every single moment. So BC thoroughly enjoyed this main event because every moment was leading up to that culminating moment. But before I go any further, I got to give Mox all the fucking flowers up front, man. Before anything, any praise goes over to MJF, Mox kept that company afloat at a time where it felt like it was sinking. This dude was going to go on vacation at the end of All Out. End of August, this dude was going on vacation. September, he was going to fucking be under palm trees with a fucking martini and Renee by his side in a fucking bikini. And this dude was told, "Hold up, man. We need you to come back to work." Punk went into business for himself. Punk got injured, whatever the fuck the case is. Mox had to come back to be an interim champion, but he defended that shit. He defended the honor of the championship as if he was the guy with no interim label over it. Mox showed up to work every damn day and did the job that he was told to do and then some. He didn't take a day off. He wasn't in La La Land thinking about the moment where he could take his vacation. He literally helped to put AEW on his back at a time where it was in turmoil. Mox did everything he was told to do. And he drops that fucking title for CM Punk just because Punk is back. And Punk goes into business for himself. And who is called back before he can take his vacation the second time? Who's called back to help put the company on his back again? It was Mox. Mox has to come right the fuck back and clean up CM Punk, Phil Brooks' mess. And Mox does it. Mox gets the championship again. Mox is delivering straight fire promos. Mox is delivering one great performance after another, whether it's in the ring, on the mic, backstage, at an autograph session. The dude shows up. The dude put the company on his back. And when it was time for Tony to say, "Now we need you to drop it again, man. It's Maxwell's time," Mox says, "You got it, boss." And he does the job yet again last night. If anything, I got to give a salute, a serious salute, a big swig from Mox, first of all. Number 2, he gets all the fucking flowers. Now I'm going to ask for some of those back because I got to give some of those to Maxwell, to MJF. So I'm going to take some of those flowers back. But from the jump, I got to give all the flowers. I'm going to give the key to the flower shop to Mox because he's earned all that shit. And I am so damn proud to say, Mox, enjoy your vacation, bro. If anything could put a smile on BC's face, because it sucks. I know. I'm an MJF dude. I know. We know. All of us knew that night could not end last night unless MJF is walking out with the championship. There's no way That would be one of the biggest botches. That would be as stupid as like winning the Money in the Bank briefcase in WWE and like cashing in on the mid-card title. The only thing that would be even more stupid is if it was like an open challenge and the Money in the Bank briefcase holder still fucking cashed in on an open challenge on a mid-card title. Could you imagine if that ever happened? That would be like Maxwell winning the chip and then going for the North Atlantic Pacific River Lake Ocean Championship. Whatever the fucking title's called. Maxwell wins the belt. He's going for the TNT title. Or Maxwell wins the chip. That would be one of the biggest botches. That would honestly be like a Money in the Bank briefcase holder cashing in on a mid-card title during an open challenge. If Maxwell left last night, left New Jersey without that fucking title, a botch of all botches, booking-wise. We all knew he had to win that son of a bitch. And as an MJF fan, man, that was a moment that I've been waiting for. But I cannot bullshit you and say that it didn't hurt to see Mox take that L, know that the title is off of him, and know that he did everything he was asked. And now he's got to go. He's got to go to the back, you know? He's got to go to the back without that title and watch MJF now carry that company. And, you know, there was a piece of me that was like, Mox, man, hold your head up high, man. Do not hold it down. Hold it high. Because you fucking earned yourself that vacation, man. Go. So that's what I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put the cap on that right now, man. I'm gonna twist that shit tight, and that's the last thing I'm gonna say there. Mox, you earned this. Enjoy your vacation, brother. It was long overdue. You postponed it for months for that company. I mean, that is something that is eternally, Tony Khan should be grateful. Salute to Mox and the job that he did, literally and figuratively. Salute. Go on that vacation, bro. And everything worked perfectly to the culminating moment where we all know exactly how this should have ended. Don't complicate shit, Tony. The finish should be simple. Regal throws the knucks into, the brass knuckles into MJF's hands, and MJF clocks Mox. Regal turns on Mox. MJF is the actual devil for pro wrestling, the actual heel. It was a swerve of all swerves. This was sitting in their lap. They played it perfectly. That's what the finish should be. We all knew that. We were all talking about this finish for the longest time. And it was so awesome to see. Sometimes you want to swerve your audience and go away from what they think is going to happen. And then there's those times where you have to do exactly what they think is going to happen because it has to happen, A, and B, it's going to be epic. Just because we know something's going to happen in advance doesn't always have to mean it ain't going to be epic. It's just about execution. And sometimes it's good to simplify it. Pro wrestling at its core, the best of pro wrestling, is best when you simplify it. You don't got to move mountains to try to gain people's interest. You got to simplify it and just perfect properly. Perfect properly. Because if you don't, you ain't going to perfect. And last night, they perfected it. Referees attending to Mox. Regal slips in the knucks at the opportune time, the perfect fucking time. MJF takes that shit and he knows. Look at the face on MJF when he grabs the knucks. Look at it. His face played it beautifully. That's what makes a great pro wrestler. It's not just if you can work in the ring or cut a good promo. It's your facial expressions. It's your mannerisms. It's your in-ring psychology, making the fans believe that every moment that they are watching is fucking epic to another degree that you don't usually see with 90+% of the other members on your roster. And that's what MJF does constantly. A consistent deed becomes a trend, right? It's not just once in a while. A consistent deed becomes a trend. It is now a trend that MJF is completely fucking epic every time he steps foot through that curtain. It is a trend. That's what makes him one of the best in the world. It's not just here and there. That manner, that facial expression like, yes, this is what I needed, right? He's saying that with his face, just grabbing the knucks. You could tell that he's relieved, like he's got to pull this off. This is his chance. And boom, that was it. Mox obviously was not getting up after that. MJF becomes your new AEW World Champion, William Regal. You son of a bitch. I can't say that without Vince McMahon's voice, bro. Yes, Regal, you son of a bitch. William Regal does the fucking dirty deed on the king of the dirty deed, Mox. You can't write that any better, but it was written out in their fucking lap for weeks. Tony fucking play. I don't know if this fell in his lap by accident or this was the goal all along, but over the weeks we started to see, damn, this is catching like lightning in a bottle. This is straight fucking magic. And again, Mox losing hurt. It absolutely did. I have so much respect for Mox. I feel he, in the last several months, ever since his CM Punk shit, the first injury, before the turmoil, just the injury alone, and he had to come back as an interim title holder, Mox just was on another level. You could tell like he really wanted to be the guy, and he was that, or at least one of. And it's so good to hear that he's right by Jericho backstage as one of the new locker room leaders. It's really not the elite anymore. Omega and the Bucks, obviously, we know they got suspended. They were out of the locker room for weeks. Jericho, Danielson, and Mox stood up to take their place. And I think that is the new regime going forward. And it's and he just earned his vacation, man. I really hope he's under a palm tree soon. Watch Mox be right back to work Wednesday. So much time has passed, they probably said, you know what, fuck the vacation. Renee's now part of AEW. Renee said, you know what, we postponed the vacation so many times, I might as well sign with AEW. And she signs with All Elite Wrestling. They'll probably show up fucking Wednesday, guys. Fuck the vacation. We're all in now. MJF, man, this was the culminating moment that if you're a fan of MJF, you've been waiting for a long time. And if you're not a fan, you've known for several months at least that this needed to happen. And that title now has to stay put, right? The last 5 title holder changes, 4 to 5. I have to look at the list, but it's been rough. In just about 5 months, that title has flip-flopped. That title has flip-flopped just more times than Charlotte Flair or Nia Jax has turned face or heel. Or Big Show or Kane has turned heel or face. That title has flip-flopped way more, it seems, in the last 5 months alone. And now it's on the right person. This is the fucking heel that can do the deed. He can get the cheers. He can get the fucking boos. He's going to get the reaction. But unlike Roman, and again, much respect, Roman is one of my 3 fucking, you want to call him pillars? You want to call him one of the 3 elites in pro wrestling? Whatever you want to call it, Roman is one of those guys right now. So I'm giving him the highest of praises with MJF and Bray Wyatt. But when Roman was being force-fed to us as a face for 5 years, just because he was getting a reaction, no, man, that's you can get better. You know, there's times where just getting a reaction is not your best result. And finally, Joe Anoa'i, Roman Reigns, walked into Vince's office one day and said, when I come back, I got to come back as a heel. This is just not working. And now look, he's putting on the best work of his career. You know, this is one of those situations where I feel MJF is just going to light crowds on fire every time he goes out there. And they'll dictate, right, where you're going to go. If this dude starts getting cheered through the fucking roof, you have no choice but to kind of sway more to a face. And I've always said MJF is way better as a heel. I always said I want this Swerve because I just don't want the dude as a face. I feel we're going to limit him just a little bit. Just a little bit, he would be limited. He'll tell you differently. He'll tell you you're still going to get the same MJF. And while we hope that's true, sometimes when you're leaning more toward face, you got to do more face shit. And the wrestler kind of knows that. And even subconsciously, you start to do more face shit. So, but the crowd will tell you, you know, I mean, if they're just through the moon every time you go out there, they're fucking causing a storm and adulation, you're gonna limit some of the heel shit you're doing. And if you hear a lot of boos and they're literally pissed off at what happened at Full Gear, well, MJF is going to capitalize on that, man. He ain't just going to flip you off. He ain't just going to tell you to fuck off. He going to fucking make you cry. That's MJF. So the dude is so versatile is what I am saying. You saw the last few weeks how he can play the role of a face. A lot of us just prefer him in that heel spot. But this is just an exciting time. You can tell how BC is talking about it, man. There's just so much that you can do stemming from last night. And catapulting yourself to the future if you're AEW. With this dude at the helm, he's so versatile that it opens the door to so many possibilities. Not saying that Mox, Jericho, Hangman, Omega were limiting the company as champion, but MJF is just more versatile. He can do so many things. Jericho would have been the closest one. Of all the title holders, again, I think they've had 6 different title holders. The title has changed 9 times. I'm adding in the interim bullshit too, by the way. But I think there's only been 6 actual champions. I think Jericho's the closest in terms of versatility. So this is going to be fun. If you're not an MJF fan, if you don't like the decision, I hear you. Eye of the beholder. Sucks for you if you didn't like the outcome last night. But I would give it a chance because you're going to see some really awesome shit, I believe. MJF is not going to allow bad booking, I don't believe. I think this is where you're going to see a lot of people are going to say, his head's getting too big, and he's starting to say no to Tony too much. I think you need that, though, sometimes, guys. If you hear something bad or it's stupid, and Tony Khan has done some stupid shit too, man. It's not just Vince and Triple H doing stupid shit in the other organization. Tony Khan's done stupid shit. And you need somebody, especially when they have the championship, you need somebody to say, dude, no, check yourself. Think about what you are saying. Please think about what you are saying. MJF may be young. I believe he is the youngest champion in AEW history for that world title. It's a short history, like I said, only 6, but I think he's 26 years old. So even though he's young, man, he has a mindset for the business, and he knows how he and that title and the organization should be perceived. And I think he takes it very personally if he feels like it's not reaching its potential. He's not, the title and the company is not reaching its potential. And I've heard enough MJF interviews to know that for a fact. So I don't even have to say I think. I know for a fact he takes that shit personally, and he takes great pride in making sure that everything is as best as it can be. That's why I say this title reign could be the best in AEW World Championships short history. Again, only 6 title holders, 9 different reigns, I believe. But this could be the best yet. And I'm not just saying that because I am a big fan of MJF. I am saying that because I have done my due diligence, my homework, my research. All signs point to this is going to be fun. Hope I'm not wrong. But last night, man, what a main event. What a culminating moment. MJF takes his rightful spot atop the throne. Salute. I did this to Mox earlier. I got to give a massive salute to MJF. And I got to take back some of Mox's flowers that I gave him earlier and send it over to the man himself, MJF. Badass, man. Now, take the company to places it's never been. We have faith in you. We know you can do it. Rock the fucking houses down, bro. We're in your corner. You know that. You just do what you got to do. We'll be supporting. Now, I'm going to go over the rest of the card real quick, man. I had about 40 minutes. I took a lot of time on that. I just had so much to say about it. I'm still very much excited about what I witnessed last night, being a fan of MJF and all that. But I do want to try to get in all these other matches real quick, if I can just speak of my thoughts on them and the outcomes. And before I go over anything else, I got to talk about that match right before that main event, Toni Storm, Jamie Hayter. Now, listen, guys, Jamie Hayter winning the title, the general consensus in the wrestling community is that had to happen, A. B, I'm also hearing it was Jamie's time. And all of that. And so that's great. I'm not even going to dispute that, right? If the crowd is really behind Jamie, then you know what? And she's improving by the fucking week, it seems. So I'm going to give a round of applause to Jamie Hayter and say, salute. Badass victory. Congratulations, champ. But I also want to flip the script a little bit, guys, and talk about Toni Storm and say something doesn't sit well with BC, and I don't know if I'm the only one, and if so, then so be it. That's a hill that I'll fucking lay on. But it doesn't feel right that Toni Storm never got the opportunity or chance to be an actual champion. She was just fed an interim title, like title and title of what she is, literally and figuratively. And then she just loses it after a couple of months. When the whole time she was champ, she was advocating for Thunder Rosa to just come to work and just do the job. Give her the title like you were supposed to be. And because Rosa didn't do that, Toni Storm will go down in the history books as never really being the actual champion. And then she just loses it. It's almost like Tony Khan did her dirty, but I can't say that until we find out her booking going forward. So I won't. I just don't feel like this did anything for her, even if you have something planned going forward. I think this is just a disastrous situation because Tony Khan fucked up from the beginning. When Rosa said she was injured and the doctor said, well, it's a back, it could be anything, there's no return timetable. They had no return date. That is when you literally have to, you have to. It's not just what the booker would like to do. You have to strip the title. Because there's no return date. Rosa could be gone for months. And guess what happened, guys? She's been gone for months. We're hearing that she might not be returned until 2023. And Toni Storm never got a chance to be the actual champion. And then she just loses it. Like, that doesn't sit well with BC. And fans, there's a lot of fans, man. A lot. And thankfully, it's not my amplified unit because we've already talked about this subject. But in the whole landscape of the wrestling community, there's a ton of fans that are beyond what Bryan Danielson calls fickle. Beyond. They will literally sit there and say, it's Toni time. It's Toni Storm's time to win the title. And then when Toni Storm wins it, mixed in with some just bad booking by Tony Khan, he never did a damn thing to really help the title reign. And then fans just went, this is boring. Toni Storm's not doing it. It's time to take the title. I'm like, well, first of all, she's not even the actual champ. Second of all, she's only held the fake championship, the farce, for a couple of months. What do you mean it's time? She's boring. It's time to take it off her. It's not working. It's Jamie Hayter's time, right? This is what we were hearing the whole last couple of weeks and even month. And BC was like, damn, how fickle. You guys were just supporting Toni. Now you want the title off of her? You think it's the new flavor of the month? It's Jamie Hayter all of a sudden. They did this in WWE when Liv Morgan captured the briefcase and then cashed in and won the championship. And you listen to the applause and you listen and watch and read everything on social. And everybody was so excited for Liv. And then within 2 months later, boring, title reign is stale, got to take the title off Liv. Liv just isn't connecting. Liv has to go back and recollect and reset. And I'm like, no, she's flawless. Liv Morgan is kicking ass. There's been some booking botches. Liv Morgan is rocking out. You just changed your fucking flavor of the month. You just got bored. Your attention span was so damn short that you just hopscotch to the next individual. I just saw people do that with Toni. It's Jamie Hayter's time. And I'm like, whoa, we didn't even get enough time for Toni Storm. You got a couple of months and you're already on to the next? Why is it that every time we get behind somebody, we have to anoint them with a title, by the way? Wrestling fans have to cut the shit, Tony. Cut the shit. Every time we like somebody or they're getting over doesn't mean we throw a title at them. It's disheartening to see Toni Storm not get any fucking flowers, if you will. It's a shame. People are acting like she's just an afterthought because Jamie Hayter, congratulations, this had to be done. It was the right call. And Toni Storm never got to be fucking champ. Even if you did think it was boring and she was stale and the title reign sucked. She deserved better than that, bro. And Tony Khan just doesn't know how to book the ladies. Same thing with Vince McMahon. Same thing with Triple H. And that's odd because Triple H in NXT, his strong suit was the females. The one thing he did better than anything, it seemed, was the females. And nowadays, on the main roster, I mean, the females are in fucking flux. He brings a bunch of them back. They're in flux. He doesn't know what to do with these ladies. Tony Khan, same way. There's no big-time promoter in the States that knows how to properly book women's wrestling. And that is going to be a fault until somebody steps the fuck up and says, we need to change shit now. If nobody does that, we're going to continue to get absolutely atrocious women's wrestling matches, segments, and feuds. Once in a while, we get a little bit of a gem, right? A little bit of some interest, right? Saraya's back. Okay, we like Britt. Okay, that could be something, right? Possibly. Damage Control gets together. Okay, this could be something awesome. And then, boom, snap of a finger, Damage Control. The only damage that needed to be controlled was the booking for Damage Control. I mean, they were booked into the fucking shitter. It's like we have good things, and then the promoters don't know where to go with it. So, you can blame Toni Storm all you want for a lack of a good title reign. You got to look at the dude himself, Tony Khan. He started all of this when he allowed the fucking title to stick with Rosa, and we still don't have a return timetable. So my point is, man, again, congrats to Jamie Hayter. That's great. As somebody who backs Britt Baker anyway, it's good to see one of the clique, who actually has the crowd firmly in her corner. It's good to see her get a moment like that. And I think it's only going to make her better because she's been improving every fucking week. I just feel like Toni Storm was done dirty, and I like to say that Tony Khan has something better for her going forward. Don't worry, BC. But I wouldn't hold your breath. What I've seen in the past, I don't know about Toni Storm right now. Maybe Tony Khan was pissed off because Toni Storm has been saying a lot in the last week about how she truly feels and that she wants Rosa to just come to work and give her the fucking title, and how she does not feel like what Tony Khan did was the right decision. She forced Tony Khan to actually have to come out to the media and say maybe it is time to take the title off of Rosa. He finally admitted that. The problem is every day that goes by, it gets longer and longer. And then what? After 5 months, you go, now I'm going to take the title from Rosa. You're making yourself look like a fool each day that goes by. Never again should we see the word interim with a title in AEW. It never ends well. It did not end well with Punk. It did not end well with Storm Rosa. And sadly, it's not even ended yet. And it's already been fucking tragic. Much love and respect. And congrats to Jamie Hayter, to Toni Storm. Keep your fucking head up. You did everybody proud. You deserved better than that. And I hope for the best for you in the future. And I'm not even, to show you how much honesty I'm spewing right now, I'm not even a Toni Storm fan. That's not a knock. I mean, I'm speaking nothing but positively about her. I'm not even a fan of Toni Storm. It's a take it or leave it situation. I could easily leave a Toni Storm match if need be. So when I say these words, I mean, that's how I truly feel, man. I don't have to be a fan of somebody to know that they were just done dirty from the jump. And I don't like that. Especially when they do every single thing that you've asked them to do. They've went above and beyond. And they don't get treated with the same dignity, respect, and class. The other women's matchup was Saraya returning to the ring, defeating Britt Baker, DMD. Should we kind of go in order? Well, now I have to just go over that match now, man, because I already said it. All right, Saraya returns, beats DMD. It was great for Saraya, by the way. I mean, that's her return match. Needed to happen. I think that's pretty fucking obvious. But let's stick with the whole kind of overtone of this vid is who's getting the fucking flowers, right? We already gave them all to Mox, and now we took a little for MJF. We had to take a little for Tony. I gotta take a little more because some flowers gotta go over to Britt Baker. Because Britt Baker, whether you guys know it or not, man, she had to carry this match in many different aspects. First of all, she has to make sure that Saraya is going to remain healthy in that match. She's just coming back with that neck back fucking issue. And Saraya is the opponent. Britt Baker, that's a huge responsibility. You have to protect her at all cost, tenfold. You're her first match. She's really going to be finding out a lot about herself. Saraya, formerly known as Paige, by the way. If you guys don't know and you're just listening to the review. Paige is in AEW as Saraya, her real name. So Saraya's really going to be finding out a lot about herself in this first match. And it's up to, you have to work with somebody you trust and is a really good professional. Whether you like Britt Baker or not, I know there's a lot of stories about her behind the scene. I think it's all bullshit and it's way over-exaggerated. Because the stories I hear about Britt Baker, she's phenomenal, backstage and in front. And if she honestly doesn't like you, you probably did something very bad. Or you're just a poor fucking person, or you just did shitty things. I don't know. But she doesn't come across as somebody that's just gonna fuck with you just because, or bully you just because. Britt Baker is a class act, and what she does for that company goes above and beyond it every fucking time. If she's asked to go to a ball game to throw out the first pitch and promote AEW, she does it. If she's asked to sign some autographs for a kid in need, she's right the fuck there. If she's asked to do an interview for AEW, but it's her fucking day off, she'll fucking find a way to do it. So zoom that shit in. So it sucks to hear all the stories that are just negative. But you know what? Saraya trusts her to be her first match, and that's all that matters. The wrestlers know how good Britt is, and that's all BC needs to know, man. And she had to step up to that responsibility and really protect Saraya. Number 2, she gets flowers because Britt Baker had to work with her at her rate. You talk about ring rust and just blowing up in the ring after 4 minutes being away that long. No amount of training can get you actually ready for that match. That first match back, anybody will tell you that. And you need somebody who can work at your speed, your rate, and still make you and them look good. Britt Baker did that again last night. So many reasons. And then Baker does the job. She's been there the whole time. Saraya just gets to AEW, and Britt Baker had no fucking problem flat on her back looking up at the lights. So yeah, much respect to Saraya. Great moment. Welcome back. Big W. But I want to send the flowers over to Britt Baker because she did the job in many different facets and aspects last night. Britt Baker, salute. I know that's going to upset some people. Fuck Britt, BC. Fuck her, man. Truth. You know, I'm not going to join the stampede just because everybody else is doing it. I'm not going to jump on the fucking bandwagon. I'm not going to join the cool kids while we bash somebody. No, man. No. Well, they did it to Rosa, BC. Her and her clique. No, everybody. Jade Cargill's not a part of fucking Britt's clique, by the way. They're friends. They're not. Jade is not part of that. Jade has fucking said many things over to Rosa and how she feels. Toni Storm walks alone, like Batista's theme music. I walk alone. Toni Storm's her own mother. If you know Toni Storm, she's her own fucking being. She has no clique. She never will. And you know her feelings on... I mean, it's the locker room, guys. At what point do you say maybe it's Rosa? I'm just asking. Because everybody seems to think that Britt just formed a super Mean Girls clique and they just came down on Rosa, and then Rosa just gets to sit on Busted Open, a podcast, and play the fucking victim. I don't know what I did. I'm just trying to extend an olive branch. I just want to be friends. And Tony's like, you can come to fucking work and just lay down and give me the fucking title. You can tell Toni you need to give the title for you and the company. Everybody says, oh, well, Rosa tried to give the title and Toni didn't take it. Just like CM Punk wanted to offer the title at first. And Tony Khan said, no, you keep it. We're going to do an interim thing. And everybody didn't just let Rosa off the hook. No, Rosa has to now say, there's so much issues now because I have the title. You need to take this. I don't have a timetable of return. I don't feel right keeping this. You either take this or we have to take this to another fucking level it doesn't need to be. And then Tony Khan would get the point. Tony Khan already said he may have to take the title off. Do you think if Rosa went to him and said, dude, take this, he's going to go, no, absolutely not. I want things to get even worse for all of us. No. Rosa is not doing everything she can to make sure that locker room feels right about this. This isn't just fucking, whatever. I tell you. Yeah, I don't need to fucking sell you on the fact that I'm giving my flowers over to Britt Baker, man, for what she did in there with Saraya last night. Anyway, moving on. Let's go over to the jump of the show. I'm kind of all over the place. The start of the show was cage match. That started the night. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy. Love the call. Start it with a bang, bro. You got the cage up high. Why wait? Send that shit down and let's rock. And both dudes delivered, man. Jungle Boy collecting the W was the right call. I know some people think, oh, Luchasaurus was dominating the whole night. It's one of those things. Luchasaurus was dominant. I can't recall the last time if I've ever seen Jungle Boy with the crimson mask, by the way, bleeding. I've never seen that, I don't believe. So I mean, you know, Luchasaurus looked like a fucking tank machine in there. And Jungle Boy had to win. Jungle Boy needs signature moments starting now. Jungle Boy was such a bright spot in this company when it formed. The last several months, it's been just odd booking. And by several months, you can even go stretch that a little bit more. You can stretch those goalposts. But Jungle Boy Jungle Boy needed a signature moment. This was it. Luchasaurus loses nothing from this L, guys. I watched this match, and when it was done, people were like, oh, that Luchasaurus is done. No, Lance Archer, maybe. Lance Archer, Tony Khan's lost on that, and I don't know if he can rebound. He's taken some very diabolical L's. If you watched this match and you saw Luchasaurus take that fucking L and you're telling me he's done, he's finished, he's buried? No, bro. Luchasaurus, I don't feel lost anything from this. Saurus was dominant. The wild elbow from the top of the cage into the snare trap was a great finishing combo sequence, by the way. And I also love the tribute that Jungle Boy did to Luke Perry, his father, 90210. Anybody remember 90210? That was Dylan, Luke Perry, the father of Jungle Boy. So, there was no getting away from that show. Even if you were a dude, your girlfriend was... Every time you went up to your girlfriend's house, she had that show on a marathon. So there was no getting away from Brandon Walsh and fucking Dylan... What was Dylan's last name, man? Fuck. Dylan McKay. Was it Dylan McKay? I don't know. He had the leather jet. Dylan was the cool kid on the show. And that's Jungle Boy's father. There was a really good moment in here where he gave his father a salute, and they panned over the Jungle Boy's family. It was cool, man. It was really cool. And I just, to me, that's an opener. There's been questionable openers on pay-per-views over this year alone. That was a fucking opener, and it was the right call. The loser doesn't actually lose much. Relax. And it set the tone for the night. Salute to both of those son of bitches. And to Tony for making the call. That's a ballsy call to start with the cage match. Death Triangle defeated the Elite, and that seemed to have shocked the wrestling world. It did not shock BC, man. It makes perfect sense. If you think about it, they're just coming back. They know that they're going to be... If they don't... Let me put it this way. If the Elite just got back in their first match and they won those titles... They knew they would create a shitstorm. Do you know how many people would go, oh, Pac was just, Phoenix was just, Penta was, they were just getting their fucking traction. And here come the EVPs. Here they go flexing. You know how many people would just, it would raise a shitstorm. This had to be, and they did have a lot of momentum, Pac and the boys. I mean, why not roll with that? Why the fuck does Omega and the Bucks have to win a title just because they formed this clique back called the Elite? If I'm promoting, I'm splitting those bitches up. Omega should be on his own because Kenny Omega still could be, even with the injuries, still could be one of the best wrestlers in the world. He has been drastically cooled off since the start of AEW. Even that moment where he had a bunch of titles on him, it didn't feel like Kenny Omega from New Japan. He was cooled off from the beginning, and that whole first year in a tag team with Hangman did him no favors. And I told you from the beginning, this is not going to end well, and you guys said, no, it's long-term storytelling. Him and Hangman are going to eventually have a beef. It's going to lead to an awesome feud and matches. We never got any of that. All of it was not a badass or epic feud in matches. It was pretty mid. And you cooled off Omega from the jump. And then he tried to have that badass fucking run when he had all the titles, and it was over like a candle just burning out quickly. Boom. And then he's injured. He's gone for months. Comes back still in this fucking trios division. He's cooled off. If I'm promoting, I'm making Kenny Omega fucking Kenny motherfucking Omega again. Make Kenny Omega again. That's what I'm doing. And the Bucks should be one of the best tag teams in the world still. They've cooled themselves off. I think this EVP shit has affected the way that they book themselves. I think Cody was the same way. I think the EVP shit was actually an anchor tied to them that was sinking them. If I'm Omega and the Bucks, I don't want that shit. I still want some locker room leadership type thing, maybe a fancy title. I don't want no fucking EVP shit. I just want to be booked as great talents like we once were. That's what I would come to Tony and try to have a conversation with. They probably want that EVP pay, though, so it's not going to happen. I was not shocked by this. This was going to create a shitstorm if they came back and lost this match. So everybody else is shocked. BC said, you know what? Right fucking call. My gal, Jade Cargill, was up next. She kept her title, her TBS championship, by defeating Nyla Rose. I should say she finally got it back. Nyla Rose has been parading the real fucking thing. Jade's have been fucking carrying around a replica of baseball games and shit. Unfortunately, the match... I love Jade Cargill. The match... Some work well together, some just don't, right? If you could plan chemistry, we would have amazing matches 100% of the time. You cannot plan who gels with who. You got to hope for the best when you make these matches. You can't, I'm getting all fucking choked up. I'm thinking about Jade Cargill. Bow wow, move to the side. BC shooting his shot over on Jade Cargill. Could you imagine that? Jade Cargill's beautiful. What was I talking about? Yeah. So Jade Cargill, you can't really plan out chemistry, and this is not really Jade's fault. I'm not even going to blame Nyla either, by the way. It's just I didn't see chemistry. I'm really not going to fucking just bark down on one person over the other why this was just not a connection. Everybody else is going to say, oh, Nyla sucks. Jade is still so green, right? You're going to hear all this. I saw the match. I just saw two people that did not fucking gel, and we probably never, ever again need to see a rematch. That's all right. No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul. I can speak. And now when we move on, just keep them apart. You learn. You learn when you should do a rematch and when you probably should call it quits, right? Let's not run it back. And on top of that, it's the right call. Jade wins, and we can move on with her streak. It's okay, man. On a card that had many matches that more than delivered, it was okay to have a little bit of a setback. Salute to my girl Jade for keeping or getting her title back, I should say, but retaining. Jericho retains his ROH title over Danielson, Claudio, and Sammy. This was a fatal 4-way. Good match, and I'm glad they didn't overshadow and overbook it, man. These 4 dudes can rock on their own. They don't need the Combat Club to get involved or JAS. They don't need all that confusion, man. Listen to these 4 names. Claudio, Danielson, Jericho, Sammy Guevara. Just let them rock. And I'm an overbooker. Anybody that watches this channel, tried and true, I overbook. It's what I do. It's what I love to do, man. I love when there's a lot of different aspects to a match. There's so much going on. But there's times you cannot overbook. You can't. A, it becomes silly and it's a circus, so you can't. And B, it doesn't need to be. I was so glad to see that they just let these 4 dudes rock out. I don't like schmaz matches, by the way. I knew we were going to get action. I didn't know if I was going to care. I cared. That's a plus. Jericho wins. I don't see how that's a bad call. I can't see Jericho's whole ROH title reign was just to drop it in a fatal 4-way. Didn't feel right to me. Luckily, I didn't have to swim those waters. Jericho retains. Samoa Joe becomes the TNT champion, smashing Wardlow over the dome piece with the actual title, and then he drops Powerhouse Hobbs, defeats Hobbs for the actual title victory. So Samoa Joe is now your title holder. Alls I gotta say, first of all, salute to Joe. Much respect. I'll drop some fucking Starbucks over to Joe. But Wardlow, wow, bro. Wow. Wardlow's reign has been forgettable and disastrous, to say the least. You start from the jump. Remember when he could have entered the tournament for the interim title? And he said, oh, I don't want the farce title. I'm going to go for I'm going to go for the mid-card. Right there, he looked like an idiot to a lot of people because he doesn't understand. If you get the interim title, you get to be the first person to take on Punk when he got back. So it makes you look stupid. Again, not as stupid as like cashing in a Money in the Bank briefcase for a mid-card title, not the world title. You cash it in on a mid-card title during an open challenge. Could you imagine that scenario? It's not as stupid as that, but I mean, why would you not want to be the first person to take on Punk? And the rest of the time you have to carry around the fake title. You can leave it in the back, I guess. But you gave up your chance to become the world champ, to go for the fucking mid-card. So right from there, people like BC questioned Wardlow's booking. And then going forward, we saw the whole reign. It was so odd. He either was not used on Dynamite mostly, or he was just used on Rampage. Well, BC, it's TNT, and it's Rampage. TNT, see? No, guys, that's a show that's viewed by 450,000 people tops every week. That's not how you fucking promote, not just your champion, but Wardlow, who should be one of the fucking pinnacles in your company. So the way that he announced his quest for the TNT title was so odd. His TNT title reign was forgettable, nauseating, and disastrous. And then he just loses it last night. Did I just sum it up? And I know there'll be people, basically, don't worry, man. Big plans, basically. Basically, don't even worry about it, man. Big plans. You just got to go with the flow. It's long-term storytelling, basically. What are you fucking talking about? By the time we get to any fucking length of any degree, nobody's going to give a shit. You have to book them properly, man. At this point, you could easily have said Wardlow without the TNT title would have changed nothing about Wardlow. Wardlow probably would have been better booked without the fucking title. You know I'm right. If you take the last 4 or 5 months away of him with the title, that changes nothing in AEW. Nothing. You forget nothing more than you've already forgotten. Nothing else would be more exciting than it already was. Nothing changed with him as title. No memorable moments. Nothing came from him with that title. And you know I'm right. And then they just took it. Probably the best for him. You know what? That title could have been a fucking anchor that was weighing him down. Who knows? Because Tony doesn't know how to fucking book this dude. It was great when he was in the MJF feud, man. He was taking out security and he had the hands tied. I mean, that's what MJF does. MJF Mox, MJF Punk, MJF Wardlow. It doesn't matter. MJF Jungle Boy. MJF brings the best out of everybody. I always say that about Sasha Banks over in World Wrestling Entertainment. That's why I say Sasha Banks is easily the best women's wrestler in the world. A lot of people like to fight that. That's in the eye of the beholder, I guess, as far as if you like her or not. But I'm going on facts. Factually, everybody's best match is usually with Sasha. I say this all the time, whether it's a Charlotte Flair, a Bayley, a Becky Lynch, Io Sky. It wouldn't matter. If you name almost everybody, their best match has been Sasha Banks. That's what Sasha does. She brings the best out of everybody. MJF seems to do that, and that's when we've seen the best out of Wardlow. You take MJF out of the equation, and Wardlow's lost in those waters without a paddle boat, without fucking duck floaties, and Wardlow seems to be sinking. He needs proper booking in order to get to shore, or he'll just fucking drown. Sting and Darby defeated Lethal and Jarrett. I'm running out of time. I only had 40 fucking minutes. This is going nearly an hour. I'm going to be late, so that's. I'm just going to skip what I had in my notes. Sting and Darby win a match. That's going to be more than forgettable. In fact, you probably already did. It does nothing for them. We're just seeing Sting and Darby in weird tag team matches for months and months and months, and nothing ever matters. Is Darby going to start mattering, or is this just Darby's ceiling? I think it's time where AEW fans especially have to start asking that question. And the Acclaimed defeated Swerve in Our Glory. Crowd not too much into this one, to be honest, and that's kind of hard to believe, thinking it's the Acclaimed of all people. Thought everybody would be scissoring themselves into a deep slumber by the end of the night. Right? I thought that was going to be the match where everyone was going to scissor me. Everybody get your scissors out. No, but everybody was probably burned out too because there was so many matches, man. A lot of action. You know, you could burn out a crowd. That's a real thing. So anyway, Acclaimed to defeated Swerve in Our Glory. There's nothing really to talk about there other than the big fucking swerve here was the swerve. We thought that Swerve was going to kind of turn on Lee. He wanted Keith Lee to cheat to win this match. Lee wanted no part of that shit. Lee fucking hightailed it and left Strickland in there to drop the match. So that was the kind of swerve from Swerve, if you will. So finally we can split them up. We can get Swerve and Keith Lee. And once that's done, I hope Tony Khan sits down with Keith and they iron out a badass plan going forward. Because I still believe Keith Lee has a lot to offer to AEW in the wrestling business. And I just hope that his health can hold up. But I see a great future with Keith Lee, and I just feel this tag team, man, has gone on a little bit too long, man. But I like that last night, and now we can get the fun stuff really going. Guys, if I missed anything, it's all apologies. Maybe I missed a match or two. I didn't go over the actual undercard, which was the pre-show type matches, but I went over everything, most things as of importance. Again, I didn't have a ton of time, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, what I could give you. And those are my honest thoughts coming out of last night's Full Gear, man. And now we just see if this company can keep the momentum, because as a whole, I thought that was a very good pay-per-view, but more importantly, it was needed for AEW, man. They needed this so badly. And we're going to see if that carries momentum, because they also need the momentum. They lost 112,000 viewers from last week's Dynamite to this past week's. 112,000 viewers said, I don't care about this show. And there was no real competition. There was a couple NBA games, but that's going to go on for months and months, right? So it's either football, basketball, playoffs, MLB, hockey, presidential speech. You can always come up with an excuse, man. There's no reason that 112,000 people just checked out. 930 over to, was it 818? 818,000 viewers, man. They were 155,000 viewers away from NXT. They're going backwards. Hopefully this show, usually post shows on a pay-per-view, they kind of catapult you in the right direction. So hopefully they can get back over 950 maybe. I don't know about 1 million. We'll see. Maybe a lot of people need to see what MJF does next. But we'll see. Anyway, that's my thoughts, guys. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Maybe we can go live before Monday Night Raw. We will see, but I'll definitely have my Raw review within the next 36 hours-ish. Right? That's complete, but what is that? That would only make like Monday 8 o'clock. I'm not going to have a Raw review at Monday night at 8 o'clock. Why would I say that? In the next 48 hours, how's that? I'll have a Raw review for you guys. I need more coffee. I've been nursing the finish of this, man, so I could get through the review. All right, BC, top guy, I'm out. Check you.